We are live.
Yay!
Listen, I almost said happy Friday because you know we do Flow Friday.
I
But
know. Switch it up a little bit.
I know, switch it up. Happy Monday.
Yes.
Welcome, Miss Cassandra, Alexis.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's good to be back. Good to be back.
Girl, I'm so excited to be talking to you tonight about this new best-selling book that was released. Yes, show that picture, ma'am. The Unchained Goddess. Now, listen, I am, as you may know, Nicole Rohn, the capacity coach, and I help women to create balance between their personal and their professional life so that they can flow and flourish and really live according to their values and do all the things that they want to do without sacrificing themselves, their families, the values, and what matters most to them. And tonight we are talking about this amazing book, The Unchained Goddess. And so, Miss Cassandra Alexis, I want you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about, how this book came to be, because I know just from what I've read, it has shifted some things in me. So you go right on ahead.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, the capacity coach, Nicole Rohn, for having me on your live. I am so excited to be here and talk to you. As you stated, I am Cassandra Alexis. I am the host of the Crown to Opulence podcast, the CEO of Opulent Outcomes Coaching and Consulting. I am now a best-selling author, and I work with Black women especially to empower them to silence their doubts, own their opulence, and market their value so that they can create their own tables in life and business. I am specifically a marketing strategist where I help my clients to become marketing savvy to build and launch their businesses. That's a little bit about what I do and some of the titles that I have. Mm-hmm. To get into how the book came to be, it is actually the brainchild of three amazing and incredible women, two of whom have been on the podcast, Tiara Womack and Andrea Infinity Jones, as well as Leanne McDonald, who is the publisher of She Speaks Media. And Leanne wanted to, she's put out several books, but she wanted to do something that really brought together Black women and spoke to the things that we deal with and go through in our experiences in life. And so she reached out to Leanne and Tiara, and they all collectively came together to come up with this idea, the title, and all the people that are a part of the project were handpicked to be a part of it. I just found out actually the other day that Andrea woke up from a dream, I think, and came up with the name. God gave her the name of the book, The Unchained Goddess. And so they really brought this idea and have been working on it for about a year. And then they, over the past several months, reached out to us, the 9 of us, and kind of just went from there.
Oh my goodness. I was going to ask about that title too, because even when we were talking about, you writing your chapter and being part of this project, just the Unchained Goddess, right? Because I feel like within each of us, there is this goddess, right? That is dying to get out. And we got her locked up, chained up, because we are living lives according to what other people think that we should be doing, really just not being authentic to ourselves. And I know that we are not only friends, but we've been on each other's podcasts, which, yours is coming out next week. So I'm super excited about that, on how to live your life as a business. But part of that is really unchaining what I call your heart, right? The heart flow pillar around, your relationships, your boundaries, how you see yourself, your self-care, all of the things that make up you. Because as we talk about, how you are at home is how you are at work. And you want to be able to bring your whole self, and unchaining and releasing all the things that people told you to be, letting go of the fear of hurting other people's feelings and not living in your own opulence and all of those things. And so for me, this book does all of that. And so I want you to tell me a little bit about your chapter, and I guess what was going through your heart, what was going through your mind, what was your goal in writing this? Who were you trying to touch?
So when I wrote this chapter, trying to figure out how I want to answer this question because this ties into what I told you about earlier.
I know. I'm going to sip while you do that.
And I'm trying to figure out what part I want to put first. Okay, I'm not going to give you that answer right out the gate. But I will say the person that I was looking to reach was me, and who I was. I wrote it for the bougie friend, the woman who's been told she's too much, she's too intimidating, she's too high maintenance, she's too ambitious, her goals are too big, her dreams are too unrealistic,
your standards too high.
All of that. Whether you call her, like I said, the bougie friend, the rich auntie, whatever other labels that we put on it, the woman who did not or does not trust herself or believe in herself, and who may even be caught in between two worlds, the world that she wants to be in and the world that's around her, and she's questioning, where does she fit? The woman who seemingly has it all together and people think that she's perfect and has no issues. The woman who is just feels like she's stuck and she's really trying to find her way out of these stereotypes and live the life that she wants, but she doesn't really know how.
Girl, you said so much, just so many different things, right? The bougie friend, the one with the high standards, the one who wants more out of her life. And sometimes I know, as we talked about, that comes with having to step outside of your comfort zone in terms of your circle. A lot of times it's your friends and it's your family, right? And I was telling you how, even as a capacity coach and switching from that cushy corporate HR job into what I'm doing now, people were telling me I was crazy. I don't know why you doing something like that. Again, everything looks good on the outside, right? You got the husband, kids, a good job. Why you want to mess that up? And part of that is for us to be able to step out and do what brings us joy, and to understand that, you know what, my standards are not too high. They may be too high for you, right? So talk to me a little bit about that, especially being the bougie friend, the rich auntie, the one who, takes care of everybody and everything. How has that flourished in your life, and how did you get to this point to be able to live this opulent life? And talk to us about opulence too.
Yes, ma'am. So this is a journey that I've been on my entire life. Literally since I was a child. All throughout college, you would hear that was just how I was referred to. And what I started realizing over time, in some ways, I thought different. I wanted different. I attribute a lot of this to my mom and the standards that she set for me. Mediocrity was not something that I was allowed to do. And not from a what was that Asian book about the piano mom, Tiger Mom, I think it was called.
Yeah.
Not from that perspective, but really setting a bar and requiring that I met it. And she tells a story at one point, it was with me as my grades in high school. She, like most parents, grades. All right, whatever.
Get them grades.
And at one point, it was like, no, this is not for you. This is for me. And she was like, you embodied that. I no longer had to push you to get the grades. And I never turned back. And so it's been truly a large part of my life. My friends, I've had very close family members tell me that I was too high maintenance, that my expectations were too high. And for a long time, I started questioning me and thought something was wrong with me in the way that I thought that maybe what you want isn't real.
Mm.
And through this whole journey that I've been on, coming to realize, like you said, my tastes are not expensive, says anybody that can afford them. If you complaining, you can't. My dreams are not too big for someone that has already amassed them or also has dreams. My
Mm-hmm.
dreams are probably small in comparison to Oprah.
Exactly, right? And I'm sure somebody told Oprah you doing too much, but that didn't stop her.
Hello?
It didn't stop her.
And so, it took me going through a lot of tears, trials, heartaches, disappointments, to really get over it and realize that it is true. One of the things that helped me to realize that a job that I had recently, I was intimidating.
Mm.
And one of the executives told me that, yeah, she was like, of course you're intimidating to them. You went to school for marketing. You've worked for companies like Disney.
Mm.
Like, yes, you are intimidating to them. And I thought about it, and that conversation taught me that's not my fault. It's no different than doctors and lawyers are intimidating. They're not intimidating to other doctors, lawyers, judges, PhDs, DBAs, and other elite, professional people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We feel some kind of way because the lawyer or the doctor is speaking in a language that we don't understand, using words that we don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if now in fairness, if they're your doctor, they should put it in layman's terms so you can understand it. However, it's not their job to dumb themselves down in other circles to make other people feel better.
That part.
And that really helped me to start even more, going further and getting closer and understanding certain things for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I've always been the bougie friend. I actually have a shirt from one of my friends' birthdays that says the bougie boo.
I love it.
My best friend for my birthday last year got me a shirt. She made me a shirt and it says unapologetically bougie.
Mm.
And I wore it on the Redefining Bougie episode that I did last year.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what I'm doing, is redefining it. The only reason why I personally don't like the word bougie is because in the Black community, we make it negative.
Mm-hmm.
We use it as a way to down somebody else. When the reality is, if you understand what the word means, it's a real word.
Educate us and let us know what bougie means.
Now, listen, I don't speak French, so I'm going to pronounce it wrong because it comes from a French word. But the French word, I believe you pronounce it bourgeoisie.
Oh, that's fancy, girl.
Know, right?
Bourgeoisie, I like that.
What's the wine on that one?
I'll sip to that.
But it basically means aspiring to a higher class, a higher economic status. And my question is, well, who does not want to aspire to a higher economic status? Like, even the poor people who want to stay on welfare, they don't really want to stay on welfare. They just don't want to go to work oftentimes. Now, that's different than the ones that need it. Let me clarify. But the ones that are milking the system, they're not doing it because they want to stay broke.
Because most people do aspire to have more, to be more, to not want to live paycheck to paycheck. Exactly. And that is essentially, technically, that's bougie, right? Or bourgeoisie. Is that that's what we call
it? Yes. Aspire.
You're aspiring to have the finer things in life. And I want to read something from the book as well that really talks about this, that stood out to me. Because you said that this is what the book says, the day I launched my business, I received a message from someone criticizing my use of the word bougie in my launch email. Not too long after that, I received another message from someone else telling me that I helped her believe she deserves the finer things in life. And you go on to say, which is something I quoted today, that not everyone will appreciate your value. You cannot be everyone's glass of champagne any more than you can be yours. Only a select few have the privilege to appreciate your worth and your value. Now, that almost took me out because too often the association with bougie is that, oh, you think you're better than yourself or better than me, or it carries this negative connotation. And the proof is in the pudding that you are helping the rest of us understand that it's okay to aspire to be more. And what I found too is that oftentimes we dumb that down, or we dim our light, because we don't want the people that we love and care about to feel some kind of way. We don't want them to think that we think we're better than them. And we put ourselves in this box, right? This box of, let me just be here, right? I don't want to make nobody else uncomfortable. And to me, the Unchained Goddess is the essence of that. It's breaking that chain, breaking that mindset, breaking those different beliefs around what it means to truly be bougie, what it means to aspire for more, and what some of that journey is, right? As you're going, up and down, because it is a back and forth sometimes, up and down that ladder. But really trying to understand, how do we do that? Like, how do we change our mindsets and get from a place of where, I'm afraid to stand in my true light because I don't want to hurt anybody else's feelings, to, you know what, I'm going to be the bougie friend, and I'm going to put it on my shirt. And I'm literally going to live out loud. I'm going to live this opulent life, and it's okay. So I know you said it's been a journey. Talk to me a little bit about, maybe what got you to this point. I know you said it's been, your entire life, but how did you become able to stand in this light of excellence?
I would say it was always there. I may not have allowed myself to be as, like you said, visible with it. That in and of itself has been a process through different situations happening. You asked me a question before, and it ties into this one. Opulence came as a result of the podcast. I wanted the podcast to have a name that tied into royalty. And all the names and the way that I could put the name together were taken. And someone else actually told me about the word. We were on a call, and I was talking to her about the podcast. She was like, opulence. That's your word. And I was like, what?
That sounds so fancy. I have to admit, too, when we first connected, and I was like, opulence. Ooh, that sounds real good. I'm like, let me Google this definition. And so, sorry for interrupting you. I wanted you to know that when I heard it, too, I'm like, that sounds amazing. So it came to be, they told you this was your word.
Yes. And they were like, that's how I see you. And at first, like you, I was like, it's not a word that I use very often. And at first I was hesitant because the word opulent, or opulence, depending on how it's just a conjugation of the word. It means great wealth, affluence, abundance, luxury, grandiose. And I was like, okay, how do I make this word relatable to people who don't live a life that looks opulent or grandiose or surrounded by luxury?
Yeah.
The reality is, you define what affluence is, abundance, wealth, luxury. Those all mean different things to different people. For me, yes, luxury is flying first class to someplace in Europe and staying at a 4 or 5 star hotel. That's me. Buying a Louis Vuitton bag in Paris. That's what I enjoy. I also enjoy an hour-long bubble bath with wine and candles
and rose petals, like we talked about. Right?
And for some people, I use this as an exaggeration, but I believe it's true. Knowing what I know of women that have kids, sometimes having 30 minutes to yourself to take a bubble bath, to sit in your water closet. If you don't know what water closet is, that's the room in the bathroom that has a door for the toilet. That's the official proper name for that room. But sit in there and not have somebody knocking on the door. Mommy, 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 mama, mom. To somebody, that's luxury.
And that's opulence. It's that peace of mind.
Exactly. And it's like you define what this is for you, what it means, what you want. And to answer the other part of the question, part of that is truly how you get there. That's what I teach my clients. Before you can have anything, you have to decide what it is that you want to have, and then believe that you can have it. So many things that we deal with within our community is we may have ideas of what we want, but we may not think it's possible to achieve it. And that goes back to when you are around people who are constantly telling you your dreams are too big, you want too much, that causes you to doubt your ability to get it, to have it, to think that it's available to you. But if you are a Christian, you know that there is nothing our Father cannot give us, that there is nothing that is too big, too much for him. Like we used to sing as little kids, he got the whole world in the palm of his hand.
In his hands, right? How come I can't have none of that? He said I could.
It says in my Father's house there are many mansions. So if God is a God of giving and he loves his children, why would none of that be available to you? And how you start to change that is sometimes you got to change your circles.
Listen, look, I can't even type fast enough. Oh, goodness. I love all of that because who does not enjoy the finer things in life, right? And again, that could be you taking that luxurious bubble bath with bath salts, or you sitting in the water closet. Darius said he was laughing at that, the water closet, where you have that peace of mind. Or it could be for me, like, I love the beach. I love the water. And anybody who knows me knows that. So really, opulence to me is sitting on the beach uninterrupted, or with somebody that I love and care about, just talking. And so really it's getting to the root of what you enjoy and what you like. And I like what Krista said too. I posted it up here. She said, I like to eat whatever I want.
Yes.
Whatever. I order steak, lobster, crab legs, and shrimp all in one sitting with a bottle of wine or champagne. Listen, who said you can't do that? And that's what this is about, right? Like making sure that you are in tune with the things that you really like, the things that you care about, and then not feeling bad about that and living that life unapologetically. Okay?
Absolutely. Before we got on here today, I needed to switch gears and calm my brain down. I went and got my Disney coloring book with my colored pencils, and I sat on my couch and I colored.
Listen, I'm all about the adult coloring books. That's luxury to me too.
And listen, it wasn't even an adult coloring book. And the Brown says that that's my business.
Yes, and that's okay.
Yes.
It's just, I love how you are helping us to embrace who we are and the things that we enjoy. And I want to switch gears a little bit because offline we were talking about how as Black women, we're often putting ourselves in a box. And I know Krista's on here. So Krista, you'll find this familiar about how, especially, and I'm doing a whole podcast episode about this too, about being a Black woman in corporate. And oftentimes, I see you, oftentimes I felt like, you know, because I was aspiring for more, I wasn't Black enough. And then getting in corporate, feeling like I wasn't white enough. Right. And really trying to put myself in this box. So talk to me a little bit about how the Unchained Goddess helps us to really break that chain in and of itself, and what your experience has been like with that. And I want to say too, if there are questions that you guys have, comments, keep dropping them in the chat. We want you guys to interact with us. So come on with it.
This entire book is built around that premise, letting go of the box that society has tried to put you in. There's actually a chapter, the first chapter in the book, that actually talks about being a goddess. That's not a term that we use often in the Black community. We say queen, we say sis. We rarely refer to each other as goddesses.
Why do you think that is?
I think I think there's two reasons, and these are just my thoughts. One, I think the term goddess is often associated with things that are not Christian, Greek mythology, Egyptology, things like that. And so I think it becomes foreign just by nature of the association in some ways without allowing it to resonate. I heard the most beautiful definition of the word goddess: God in us. It is God in you. And I was just like, that is like whole new meaning of the word and understanding. I think the second reason that we don't use that term is I think there's a level of freedom that comes with being a goddess. There's actually a picture this year on my vision board. I put a goddess on my vision board. I was intentional to find the image of a Black goddess. And she is like,
come on, Black girl magic.
Hello. She is like dancing. I'm actually looking at it right now. Like dancing. Picture a woman dancing in the rain, but purely like enjoying it as the light is shining on her and just being unbothered about getting her hair wet and it poofing up and all the things that we worried about, and just enjoying the freedom that comes with that. And I think oftentimes we don't have that level of freedom, so we don't even have the consciousness to go there. And I think it's something that's just often not talked about. And so we don't even get to that point to see ourselves that way. We hear queen so much and we just kind of get stuck there. But I think there's so much to unpack with understanding the word and taking it away from Greek mythology, Egyptology, and anything else that's associated with that you feel goes against God, because I don't believe that it does.
I can say too that I know I've struggled to use that word in terms of me, because I always felt like, ooh, does that mean I'm trying to put myself on the same level as God? Right? Like from the Christian perspective. And I love how you say it's God in us. And so really being able to tap into that, as you were talking earlier, right? Our Father who art in heaven has all of this for us. And so if we are made in his image, we are goddesses. And I don't feel that there's anything wrong with that. So I love that you're breaking that down. And I posted Krista's comment here because I think that it's relevant and we should talk about it a little bit, because the truth is, being a Black woman in corporate, I know I felt the way that Krista is saying now, that oftentimes white women can live and ask for whatever, batting an eye.
Do whatever, say whatever, act however.
Listen, and we're the main ones that people tell to accept less than. It's rooted in slavery, misogyny, and racism. So people can continue to benefit from our value while we don't truly get to live it truly ourselves. And I can go so many places with that, because I remember being in corporate and having my hair like this. We were laughing. I was calling these my slave twists, right? They're not slave twists. What do we call them? My halo braids. That's what we call
halo twists.
Halo twists. And being told, hey, make sure you look nice tomorrow because we have a meeting with the executives. You're leading this workshop and this wasn't appropriate, right? And so oftentimes we're taught very early on, and then as we get into the corporate environments, to water ourselves down, to dumb ourselves down, to not be ourselves on the outside, but they want all the stuff that's on the inside, right? And so Krista said lawsuit, sis. Listen, you know I was in HR. I was there. Or, oftentimes I remember people wanting to touch my hair saying, oh, that's so neat. What does that have to do with anything? Ma'am, we in HR, right? Like, how you going to tell me my hair is neat? What do that even mean? And so we don't want to embrace ourselves in so many different ways. So
we are the only race of people that had to have a law signed to allow us to be able to wear the hair that grows out of our head the way that it grows out of our head.
Let me get off this camera, girl.
So we can go and pay for weave and look like Becky, and that's okay. Nothing wrong with the weaves at all. the wigs and anything else. But to wear what comes out of our head, we got to get approval from the government to do that. Okay. Like you, I had an issue because, I used to work for Uber, conservative company, and I just could not figure out my hair that day. And I was like, I'm just going to put my hair in my little two puff balls because my hair is too thick to pull into one without putting heat. The anxiety that I had around wearing my hair like this to go to work. And I was like, you don't have purple hair or it's some other distraction. This is just, you put your hair, part it down in the middle and two. Like, is this really what we're dealing with? I had two instances. One, I had a sew-in in, and I was at a business meeting. I was at Starbucks, and one of my white male coworkers, we were just chit-chatting. I walked away, got my coffee. One of my white female coworkers comes up, and the guy asked her, "Have you seen Cassie?" She was like, "You were just talking to her. Like, you stood in my face and talked to me. Not just like, hi, how are you? Had a whole conversation. But because my hair was different, you couldn't recognize me." Another instance, I had faux locks in. I started one day of the meeting with faux locks, and I forgot why I took them out, but I took them out because I took them out. Don't matter why.
Because you felt like it.
And whatever way my hair was, I think I probably had it in a puff with a scarf around it. Literally, they made a whole big deal in the meeting, like, well, you should reintroduce yourself because your hair is different. No, I should not. Like, how is it that our hair is such a thing for us? And it goes into consistently feeling like you have to water yourself down, be somebody different, do something different at work.
Krista said lawsuit again.
We're going to have every corporation
and lawsuits.
Lawsuits and litigation.
And that's part of where that watering down comes from, right? We're taught early on to talk a certain way, to dress a certain way, behave a certain way, don't be too sexy, don't smile too much. I can remember, if my mom is still on here, y'all, anybody that knows me knows that I am just friendly beyond belief. I'm smiling and nodding. And I remember when I first moved back to Chicago from Wisconsin, she's like, "Girl, don't you be walking around smiling and talking to people, because then you're going to be inviting them and not even know it to have conversations with you. They might follow you." I'm like, I'm just trying to go to work. Okay. But we're taught to put all of that away. And so when you get to work, though, all of that needs to come out. And part of being an Unchained Goddess means understanding something that I want to pull from what you said in the book as well. And that is that the world needs all of our Black girl magic. It needs our drive, ambition, and the standards of excellence that have helped us change the status quo. The world needs us in positions to make room for more of us in rooms filled with us. Our daughters, nieces, goddaughters need to know that there is no limit to what they can achieve. And that just about took me out as well, because as a mom, as a friend, as a godmother, as a woman myself, right? Knowing that it's okay for me to be all that I can be and then some. It's okay for me to be extra, right? It's okay for me to, express myself in the ways that I want to. And so I just want to thank you for taking part of this and having an open conversation and encouraging the world, right, to celebrate and embrace who we are, bad, bougie, and all of that in between. And it's just making a difference completely. And so I just want to thank you for that and give you a chance to talk a little bit more about, where people can find the book, how this just kind of ties into living your opulent life, and go from there.
Absolutely. So, I have to tell you thank you. So I don't know if you remember this. So I'll give you a little bit of backstory. The
Don't make me cry
chapter.
on here, girl. Okay, got these lashes done. I'm trying to hold on. A capacity meeting that I'm doing. Make me cry these lashes off.
Listen, ma'am, do as you feel because you don't need to ask nobody for permission. But the chapter that's in here is not the first chapter that I wrote or submitted. And when I wrote it, I was proud of it, but I felt like there was something that was missing. Mm-hmm. And what was missing was my heart. And I could not fully, I knew what I was trying to say, but it was stuck. And as you mentioned, we've worked together and things like that. And so we worked together on my heart flow. And we had a session one day, and you were like, you didn't trust yourself. That next day, I wrote this chapter because of what you did with me in that session. So I have to tell you, thank you for helping me to fully go the rest of the circle, around the circle in my own journey, and to be able to get the words out, to have the courage to fully tell a very difficult part of my story, and let whoever happens to read it with the knowing it's going to help someone. So I want to tell you, Capacity Coach, thank you.
I'm trying to fight back tears because getting into this space of being opulent and living according to your values is already hard enough. And every one of us who are trying to make a difference just want to know that we've impacted at least one person, right? And so for me to know, and I remember that conversation, I remember all the hard work that we did in working in your heart flow and understanding how what's going on in here shows up in all of those different places. So to know that I helped you to get there, to know that you went inside to listen to yourself and to trust yourself, right? To go back in time like, girl, I ain't trust you then, but I'm gonna trust you now. And to fully write this out, like I couldn't be more proud and grateful. I couldn't. Oh my goodness.
Yes, I sat here and boo-hooed at this computer. This chapter. I was like, you gotta stop crying so you can write this.
Listen. Oh, Darius said, thank you for sharing that with her, that she needs to hear that. I'm going to plug my charger up. Y'all don't judge me. It's going to get a little dark. You got a couple outlets over here. But oh, wait a minute. I unplugged the wrong one. Hold on, y'all. I am beyond grateful that I've been able to touch you, and beyond grateful that you are living in your opulence and showing all of us how to really just do that, because in order for us to live fully and to be in flow and to have capacity, we have to be able to do that. Darius talking about too many chords. Hush your face, sir. So, oh my goodness, thank you, because you have helped me to understand that what I'm doing is making a difference.
Yes.
As much as what you're doing is making a difference. Because these are the conversations that nobody's having, right? Like we're having them to ourselves, like we talked about earlier, by ourselves in the car crying. Or journaling them out and feeling like we're alone. And the one thing I want everybody to know is that you're not alone. Like the same struggles that you have going on are the same struggles that other people. And you talked about how you just shared your story, right? You don't realize how your story is attached to somebody else's freedom, attached to somebody else's blessing. And I often talk about how things don't happen to you, they happen for you as a result of working with Miss Patrice Washington. But it's the truth. And so I love that, you got vulnerable and were able to do that. And I want to talk about that for a second before we hop off too, because as we've talked about, as women, and especially as Black women, we're taught to not be vulnerable, right? Like I said, don't you walk down the street smiling. Don't you do that. Or don't ask for help, right? Like, don't ask for help. And being vulnerable is the key to having capacity. In my mind, it's the key to unlocking your opulence, because it takes more strength to say, you know what, I need some help. I cannot do this by myself. I don't want to keep going in circles. I don't want to suffer in silence. So how do we get to a place where we can unlock that opulence and have that vulnerability, even though we have learned all of this stuff, you know, from well-meaning family, friends, society, and everybody telling us who we should be and shouldn't be?
There's, you know, so many ways you get there, and I don't dare say there's one way, because each person's journey is different. I think for me, part of it was I had to get to a point where I chose something different. So in a lot of ways, I'm the opposite of what I should be, in quotation marks, in that I'm my father's only girl, my mom's only child, and my father's youngest child. And part of it was I was on such a quest to prove that I was not spoiled, that I was not a brat, that I took on this level of independence. And then when I moved away, I live in Houston. My family's all in Chicago. For the first 3-4 years I was here, there was no one that I could really go ask for help to. I will never forget, my mom and my aunt came to visit when I first moved in, and I had this big, huge marble square table in my breakfast nook, and I couldn't find the screws when the movers moved me, so the table didn't get put together. So by the time my mom got here, I found the screws. You should have seen us, the three of us, trying to turn over this big, huge marble table by ourselves. We needed to do something with the smoke detector or something. My mom, my aunt, and I are like standing on the dresser. We even took a ladder to get on the dresser to get it done.
Yeah, I was doing the most.
That's what I grew up seeing. Listen, I had to pay somebody $40 to spend 2 minutes to put these screws into my table to get it fixed. But I had to ask for help. Otherwise, we were going to break it. And so it just became even more innate in me to not ask for help, until one day I got to a point, and it came through understanding, for me to receive the type of man that I want in my life.
He's not got your pants ready. Hold on. Come on now.
He's not going to find space in my life because he's not going to feel like he's needed. And I had to learn, which I'm still learning how to do, because my mom and I were just talking about this. This is what I grew up seeing, how to ask for help, how to, and one of my friends told me this in 2018. So when I say this is a journey, it's been a journey. She said, as long as I've known you, you have never allowed anyone to help you. You've never just asked for help. And so part of it was also me looking into, why don't I ask for help? So you have the way that I was raised, but also growing up asking for things and being continuously let down. You just get to a point where you stop asking. And that's ultimately what vulnerability is, because we're not saying if you become vulnerable, you're going to get what it is that you want all the time, but it's creating the space to allow other people to give to you, to allow yourself to sit in a place and receive the compliment, receive the help, receive the acknowledgement. And it doesn't have to come just from a man. It can come from us. And so it's being vulnerable, in my opinion. It's allowing people to see you don't have it all together. I'm not, one of the things that I have worked on with myself is, someone calls you or you interact with someone, hi, how are you? I'm good. Knowing damn well you ain't good. So I've worked on stop saying I'm good. If I'm not good, I have literally said I'm not good. I'm okay. Like I will go back and change it because it's to create a space and a narrative to me. You don't always have to be good. Some days it's okay to be not okay. And giving myself space to not be okay, to not have all the answers, to not know it all. And it's not the easiest thing. Don't get me wrong. It's a journey, it's a work in progress. But I think that's how we start to do it. It's showing our young girls, our nieces, our daughters that they don't have to have it all figured out on their own. Seeing that mommy doesn't always know the answers. Mommy may make a mistake. I did the best that I could do. That's all you can
what
do.
you had.
Stopping this narrative of stop crying, suck it up, keep going. Yeah, there are some times where you do just got to keep going because otherwise life will take you out if you don't. But there's a difference and there's a balance in knowing when to pause, knowing when to ask for help, knowing when to stop versus no, keep going. I don't feel good. Keep going. Over here dying, bleeding out. Nope, you got to go to work. No.
And that's how I ended up where I ended up, and we talk about that. And that's why I got to this point, because the capacity to me is doing that preventative work so that you don't feel like you have to keep going and creating that space where you can take off that cape, where you can be vulnerable. And you said a couple of different things. Number one, I have to circle back and just say thank you again, because I remember right after my dad passed, and you were calling to check up and texting. And when you heard my voice for the first time since he passed, you said, "How you doing?" I said, "I'm all right. I'm doing okay." He said, "Girl, how you really doing?" I boo-hooed. I ugly cried. And I felt good though, because you made me comfortable enough to say, "Girl, you don't have to act like everything is me. It's okay." Right?
Your daddy just died.
It's okay. And even before that, when I was taking care of him and trying to do everything, both you and Latika were like, "So, hey, capacity coach, you gonna pause or no?" Like, you said you pausing, but are you really pausing? And I was like, what y'all not gonna do is come for me and tell me how to be the capacity coach. But I needed that reminder. And that's what this whole thing is about, right? In order to live an opulent life, in order to have capacity to attract the man that you want, in order to have the kind of friendships, girl, in order to get the kind of money that you say that you want so that you can live the first class lifestyle, you have to have the capacity to do that. And you can't do that if you're not vulnerable enough to understand what you need, what you want, what you don't want, who's impacting your everyday life. And you said something earlier too, when we were talking about how or maybe that was Chris. I'll talk to both of y'all today. Basically, around being the sum of the 5 people that you spend the most time with.
That was Krista, but I do agree with it. I didn't say that today.
And thank you, Krista, if you still here, girl. But really being able to be reflective and not be afraid to say, you know what, I'm the most successful in my circle. I don't not love the people that I'm with, but I want to elevate. So I need to put myself in the same room with other people who are doing better than me so that I can learn from them. And it's not about having a competition. It's not about, being jealous or envious. It's learning and being comfortable saying, you know what, if all me and you can do is kick it and drink on the weekends and that's our relationship, that's okay. But I'm trying to go over here and then not feeling bad about that whatsoever. So
at all, there may be days when life then kicked your butt and all you need is to go and have a drink with somebody. Then you call up your drinking buddy. And I think that we talked about this on our podcast episode. We consume people. And this is why I say to see yourself as a product. Each person that's in our life.
Girl, don't give it all away. They're going to have to come listen to the podcast.
I'm not going to give it all away. No. But people in your life for a reason. And we put each other into categories whether you think so or you don't. Your cleaning lady comes to your house to clean your house. Your pool person, your grass, your lawn person, that's what they do. We all got the friend that we call when we laugh, when we need to cry. It's the same thing. But there is nothing wrong with saying, I can't give all of y'all my energy because I'm trying to go over here and you can't get me there. Now, when I get here, I'm going to come for y'all.
I'm reaching back. You coming together. Believe that. Yeah.
But I can't stay here because what I want is over here. And I'll give you an example. When you were talking about corporate America, I remember I traveled a lot for work. I've been in business meetings with executives since I was in my early 20s.
Mm-hmm.
My alcoholic palate had not developed for the spaces that I was in. So they over here ordering Cabernets and Pinot Noirs, and I'm like, can I have an amaretto salad? Can I have some Moscato?
And no shade, everybody develops their, alcoholic palate at a different rate. But I feel you.
And I got to a point where it was like, no, this is no longer okay for me. I wanted to be a part of certain conversations. I didn't want to be the Black girl that could not contribute. And so I remember one of my former coworkers saying she adapted a certain wine palette. She went on certain vacations so that she would be able to have conversations and be included. The reality is, this is how a lot of business gets done on golf course, golf course. Exactly. And so being able to work those different rooms. But the more that I went that way, the rest of my circle wasn't there. Mm-hmm. And I'll never forget, I've always wanted to go to Europe. Mm-hmm. For years. My friends couldn't go. Most of my friends are married with kids. Ain't too many husbands gonna be okay with you going halfway around the world and leaving them at home for 10 days with crying babies.
Hey, Mr. Roan, I'm going to Europe.
So I was like, what do I do? Do I stay here and allow my circle to determine what I do? Or do I go and figure out another way to do this? So I decided to go to Greece with a travel group. And I'll never forget this. I was so excited. I've been wanting to go to Greece for so long. Right up until it was time to go, I was super excited. I would say the week before, cold feet. You're going to go how far? By yourself for how long? With people you don't even know?
That's that fear and that doubt creeping in because it's unfamiliar.
Yes. One of my white female coworkers said, are you serious? Why you going on that trip? I am so appreciative and thankful for her because I went. When I tell you, it was a group of 10 to 15 Black women who did not know each other. We had no drama. We had no issues. We looked out for one another. We've developed friendships. My trip to Costa Rica was because of one of the ladies that I went on this trip with.
The one you just went recently. I was wondering, I want to go on a trip somewhere with people like that. Oh my gosh, that's so amazing.
I was the youngest person there. I am still connected to many of those women. We still, if you see us on Facebook talking, earlier in September, you may have seen posts from Greece with different ones of us tagging each other.
Yeah.
We're like, okay, 2022, we're going somewhere. We've only spent that 10 days in Greece with each other. I would not have had that had I not allowed myself to go someplace and be elevated, to do something different. But now I can go with my friends, and now I know at least what Europe is like. Mm-hmm. So when we go, I can give them that knowledge. Mm-hmm. I had this one girl call me and say, okay, well, what do I do in Paris? Nah, she had already crossed some lines and I didn't really like her anymore.
That's a whole other conversation.
A whole nother conversation. But I was like, no, I'm not helping you. But the idea of I went and got information, exposed myself to something different, and now I can be a resource to other people. If we all stay in the same place, we can't help each other go anywhere. We're just
No.
gonna keep going around in the same circle.
And this is really kind of what we talked about with the I am a history maker episode, right?
Mm-hmm.
And really being a trailblazer. So everything that you're doing about helping us to stand in and own our opulence and taking these trips with people that you do not know, you are encouraging and giving us permission to do those things, because not everybody knows somebody that looks like us that has been to Europe. Not everybody knows somebody that has felt safe enough to travel with a group of people that they don't know. And because of
Mm-hmm.
your experiences, you're allowing us to live through you. And I thank you for that. And I want to read something that Joe put up. I don't know, Joey, if you're still here, but I'm going to put it back on the screen. And after reading this, I want you to tell us where we can find the book,
Yeah.
because I feel like this is the epitome of what we've been talking about. He said, Black Queen is a woman of African heritage, kissed by the sun and
Mm.
imbued with the magic to succeed and
Mm.
persevere against anything that stands in her way
Mm.
without dropping her crown. So we are trying to help you not drop your crown individually, collectively. And that's what this book is about. And if you do nothing else, go get this book. And so I
Yes.
want you to tell us where we can find it. I know it came out last week. When I do the
Yes.
replay, I'll drop it. I'll drop the link. So if you're listening as part of the replay, make sure that you're checking this out. But tell us where we can find it and how we can find you.
It is on Amazon. Both there is the paperback version, as well as the Kindle version. I'll give you the link. It will soon be on barnesandnoble.com. And don't quote me, but our publisher, the amount of locations, thousands. I was like, wow, that this book will be in over the course of time, and she's rolling it out to different places. The main ones right now, you can get it today, are on Amazon. Get the paperback and the Kindle edition. I'll send you the link.
Just drop the link as well too. And listen, you have 5-star reviews. All the reviews are 5-star right now.
Yeah, so please get the book, share it, tell your friends, get a copy for your friends, your sister, your cousin, your auntie. Get a copy for your man, for your father, your brother, your uncles. It's so important for us, if we want to heal as a race, for us to stop pointing fingers at each other, for Black men to understand our feelings, our experiences, for us to understand theirs, and to not try to trump one over the other. We need each other to be successful. And so it's not just a book for women. Share it. It's not just a book for Black people. Give it to somebody that's white, Hispanic, Asian, green, purple. It doesn't matter. I'm so serious, because they can learn.
It's about learning to embrace and understand. And you can't, you don't know what you don't know. And this gives a lens into us culturally, right? Some of the things that we traditionally, like I said, are not having conversations about in the corporate space, and sometimes not even with our own friends and family. And as we are learning how to all live together collectively as human people, really being able to understand the cultural context is super important. So thank you again for all of your contributions. I'm so proud of you. Jerry says that he's proud of you.
Tell them thank you.
And I thank you again for taking the time to come and talk about it. And I cannot wait for the podcast for next week.
Yes.
So, having that. But anything else you want to say before we head out of here?
Two things. One, the other thing that I just want to add with this book, these are these women's individual raw stories their lives and things that they have experienced.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a made for TV movie that has been altered to create.
Reality.
No, it's real reality. And so I just, wanted to share that piece because sometimes what we see is through a lens of media and story that's made to sell something. And the authenticity and the vulnerability, having known each of these women, not knowing them, but knowing them through their stories and engaging with them as we've created this book. These are their real and authentic and vulnerable stories. And so they were written with the sole intention to bring healing and education as a result of this project.
Mm.
So please support it. The other thing that I was going to tell you, ma'am, is I was meant to tell you this when you were talking before. I just want to say thank you to you also. You have no idea the impact that you are making. My mom, since listening to our podcast episode on capacity, that is like one of her new favorite words. I think almost at least once a week, my mama is saying capacity. Do you have the capacity? You don't have the capacity. And she told me yesterday, if you do not have the capacity, don't you sit here and do it.
Mm.
So just, it's not always easy. Anyone in this space, it's not always easy. We often doubt ourselves. We often know what we want to do, and we come from a place of such desire to help. And so I just want to share with you, because we don't always know how we're helping. We don't always get to hear the influence. And so I just wanted to share that with you. You got my mama talking about capacity. So thank you for having me tonight. I love talking to you. It's always an amazing time when we get together. I'm so thankful and grateful for you in my life. Thank you for sharing your platform with me. I'm just so excited for our episode next week to see all the things that you're going to continue to do, ma'am.
You know I'm gonna fight you when I see you, right? Did I tell you don't make me lashes off?
You don't get more lashes. That's okay. There's an abundance of lashes.
I know, right? There are an abundance of lashes.
There is no shortage of lashes.
Just set up, ma'am. No, I thank you for sharing that with me because, as on any journey that we're on, self-doubt can creep in. And I am just so thankful that capacity is being associated with me. That's my whole goal, right? For people to, when they hear capacity, to think of me, and really the fact that it's touching your mom and she's reminding you, right? This is what a village is. We're all teaching each other. We got to manage that capacity. And so, you know what Joey said, the capacity of those lashes. I'm so out.
Come on, Joey.
They holding up though. These are good lashes, y'all. The real good lashes. They all ain't gonna come off.
Those lashes about to hit max capacity.
Listen, they about to hit capacity, okay? So I'm grateful for you. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for what you do. This is not the last time we will be partnering, nor is the podcast. Listen, if y'all don't know, Cassandra is a Chicago native, okay?
Yes, Southside.
Yes, listen. So many more collaborations. God bless you for everything that you're doing. Thank you for taking the time to talk with everybody. And I'm about to go buy a couple copies because Christmas is coming up.
Yay.
Holidays are
Please do. I'll autograph them if you need.
Listen, you got to do a book signing. We'll talk about that offline. So, but thank you to everyone who joined. Thank you for interacting with us. This has been so fun. If you find yourself in need of trying to manage your capacity, if you find yourself in need of trying to get to the core of your opulence and stand in your true light, reach out to us. We want to help you. I believe that when one of us wins, we all win. And this is what it's about. And just thank you again for joining. And we're going to get them books. And thank you for
Yes.
sipping wine with me on a Monday night. Cheers.
Yes.
All right. Love you guys.